Hello and welcome to Saturday's Birmingham News Weekend Magazine. It's our relaxed look around Birmingham and the West Midlands. So then, coming up on today's show, well, we'll kick off with a look back at this week in the wide world of sport. Carl will join us for the business news and a look at the film world. I'll be seeing what's up on the community notice board, and we'll be taking another look at a very special part of our area. It's Barbeacon. And of course, Des and Sasha will be telling us what's on this week as well. We'll be experiencing a touch of the arts, and then Jason Forrest will join us with another interesting guest. Plus, Norma Bartlam will be telling us what's so special about this month. It's very special, you know, and it's all within the pages of this week's Weekend Magazine. So then, first up, let's have a look back over this week in the wide world of sport.
In sport this week, we saw the Lawn Tennis Association announce that they will invest an unprecedented £250,000 into Britain's tennis courts. The investment will transform grassroots tennis, which is in high demand in the West Midlands. A recent LTA survey showed that over 20% of people in Birmingham are interested in playing the game. Improving facilities and making them more accessible will help to meet the demand and increase participation.
So we've announced this morning that we're going to be investing £125 million into tennis development. We're specifically looking at how we can provide better courts, local communities for people, and we're looking at how we can provide floodlights and covers to make sure that people can play tennis all year round. It's a very big investment. In fact, I think it's the largest investment of an NGB into the sport. We're also looking for that to be matched in terms of the funding that we're working with. I mean, we can't get away from the fact is, you know, a large majority of the time, even in summer, it rains. So we want to make sure that in Britain that we're not losing out to that really, that when we get people to a place that they really want to play in, that they can play more often and all year round. You know, the park here does have people playing, you know, into the winter, but it is a much smaller number, and you know, with covers and with lights we're going to get more people playing.
Well, I started off doing the ball guarding for Aegon Classics, which started my love for tennis. Then I joined the tennis in the park with my family, and then as that developed, Stu saw me, the coach saw me with kids, and he asked me whether I wanted to help out with coaching on Saturdays. So now I do coaching on Saturdays. So it's developed from doing ball girling from school to now having kind of a job on Saturdays. I think we had funding for here, and if we didn't have funding, I wouldn't have been where I am now with tennis.
And looking at the courts, it's a rainy day today, but how do you think that the funding will change the facilities that are currently available?
Well, I think with the funding, more people can be involved and the facilities will be able to improve, and maybe indoor, so it's a kind of all year round thing. But I think just getting more people involved, I think, is the main thing.
Yeah, awesome. And since you've been coaching, like, what have you enjoyed it? Like, how many people have you coached?
I have it. Funny enough, I think at the start I found it quite hard, but now I love it. Now the kids know me and we can play games of tennis, and so I do 2 groups and different age groups, and yeah, I love it. It's given me a big confidence boost as well.
You can see more about that huge investment from the LTA and how it will transform tennis in the area in Wednesday's Midlands Sport Extra. And Made in Birmingham spoke exclusively to MMA champion Darren Moore. Here's what he had to say about the growth of mixed martial arts in the Midlands. You've recently taken home a huge victory. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, I fight for a promotion called Golden Ticket Fight Promotions. It's, in my opinion, the opinion of many others, the leading promotion to come out of the Midlands. It's doing things for Midlands mixed martial arts that is not. It's mostly seen in promotions up north and nationally, and it's putting the Midlands on the map with mixed martial arts a bit more.
You have your nickname, which is Frankenstein Monster. Can you tell me where that came from?
My love of Hammer horror movies is the one, and just being on the map with guys over the years.
That's all for your sport roundup. If you have any stories you'd like us to cover, get in touch, sport@madeinbirmingham.tv TV. From me for now, goodbye.
Thanks, Sasha. It's Carl now with the business news.
Thanks very much, Lee. Time to take a look at some more business news from across our region. Now, a Birmingham-based social enterprise scheme has opened its 9th venture in Birmingham. The Jericho Foundation's launched different businesses as a way to get young people into employment. The latest is a new laundry service in Kings Heath, as Erin Wiggins reports.
With the cut of a ribbon, just like that, a new laundry was opened in Kings Heath. It comes as part of the Jericho Foundation's social enterprise scheme, which is designed to offer employment opportunities for young people by opening a variety of businesses in different fields.
Our mission is to help people who are struggling in the labour market to become fulfilled, skilled and ultimately employed. And the way we do that is we run a bunch of businesses that trade in the commercial marketplace, but they exist as well to provide training, work experience and apprenticeship opportunities for people that are really struggling to get that first break on the employment market.
From cleaning to construction, there are now 9 different businesses run by the Jericho Foundation, with Miracle Laundry being the latest. In a time when a number of young people struggle to find work, schemes like this are vital.
I think a lot of young people nowadays, you're kind of given a 0 hours contract, pushed off. That's it. We need to get totally out of the habit of that. We need people getting jobs for, do you know what I mean? Jobs for life, where you're in a job for 30 years, you're taken care of. I think that's what companies need to be looking at now. The youth are our future at the end of the day. This is what we need to be looking into, is securing their future for them.
I think there's a load of kids out there who have got amazing skills, amazing talent, amazing ability, but nobody will give them a break. And we see our role at Jericho as being like a stepping stone for those kids. People that are struggling, maybe they live in the wrong postcode, maybe they left school with quite poor qualifications, maybe they've had a bit of trouble with the police, that kind of stuff. If we can give somebody a job, an apprenticeship in a real life business, we can give them a load of mentor support around that job as well. Then hopefully at the end of that we can help them move into work elsewhere, and we can give them that opportunity that they really need.
The foundation are keen to continue to open businesses in multiple industries in the hope that it will introduce young people into work, subsequently building the economy and keeping the cycle spinning. Erin Wiggins, Birmingham News.
So from laundry we go to computer gaming, and a gaming company in Birmingham has grown over the last 10 years, enjoying much success. But with Brexit negotiations underway, what does the future look like for this billion-pound industry? Let's take a look.
According to trade body Ukie, the UK is the 6th largest games market in the world in terms of consumer revenues, valued at a record £4.33 billion in 2016. Now, Birmingham-based video games developer and publisher Vufu Studios is celebrating its 10th year anniversary.
Yeah, we started off very small, just 2 guys started the company. I think we've done nine games in 10 years, which is, for a small team, quite a big output. So, yeah, it's hopefully going from strength to strength.
But what does the future hold for this industry in our country at a time of uncertainty? Could it soon be game over for its growth?
It's really too early to kind of say, but there is definitely that sort of apprehension right now about what could happen, and there are trade bodies representing the UK games industry that are trying to negotiate with the government to make sure, UK games companies' right to protect it. The industry itself is very sort of volatile anyway and very innovative, and it moves very fast paced. So in terms of the technology side, things change very, very quickly in the games industry.
Ukie found that 57% of games companies employ workers from the EU, and many are assessing their future in the UK. One of Vufu's employees from Romania didn't want to be filmed. He told me he doesn't want to buy a property here due to his fears for the future. But Theresa May recently outlined her proposal on EU citizens' rights, saying she wants EU citizens living in the UK to stay after Brexit, insisting people will be treated the same irrespective of their nationality.
So obviously we have at least, I think, 1 or maybe 2 workers who may be affected. So it is a massive consideration for, I guess, most UK companies.
As technology changes, so does the industry, constantly transforming to keep up with the latest trends. trends. And with Brexit looming, companies like Vufu only hope to continue the fun and games they have done over the past decade. Olivia Marks, Birmingham News.
Now, if you're interested in that debate, there's lots more where that came from on Birmingham Business at 7 o'clock on Sunday, where I'll be joined by studio guests looking at the state of the gaming industry and the opportunities that it gives to West Midlands entrepreneurs. And don't forget, if there's something you think we should be talking about, send me an email to carl.jones@madeinbirmingham.tv.
Thanks very much, Carl. So then, time for a break, and when we come back, I'll be taking a look at the community notice board, and then Carl Jones will join us once again for this week's movie news. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. Still to come later in the show, we'll be seeing what's on in the West Midlands, plus we'll be taking a look at a very special part of our area. So then, it's time for the community notice board, and this, as ever, is the news that you send to us. Remember, if there's something that we could mention, then please do get in touch, but give us plenty of notice. We'll give you those all important contact details in a few minutes' time. And we start off with some travel news. Takes me back to my old days in radio. Pinfold Street in Wensfield is going to reopen to traffic and pedestrians on Friday, July the 7th. Now, it follows the completion of essential repair works by the City of Wolverhampton Council. This bridge is an important link in the local road network, carrying the Lichfield Road over the Worley and Essington Canal. The condition of the bridge had deteriorated and needed reconstruction to avoid having to impose further weight restrictions on it. Now, this would have had a detrimental impact on traffic in and out of Wensfield town centre, in particular on public transport and service vehicles. The work carried out over the last 6 months will extend the life of the bridge for at least another 120 years, maintaining access to the town centre for future generations. Now, further work on the bridge will continue after July the 7th, but they reckon that this will have minimal impact on traffic and pedestrian movements. Now, a local postman will cycle more than 500 miles to raise money for the Stourbridge charity, which looked after his friend in his final days. Steve Gould, aka Steve the Postman, will set off on a 5-day challenge in northern Scotland, riding more than 100 miles a day to raise money for the Mary Stevens Hospice. Now, he's going to set off on July the 3rd and ride until July the 7th, and he'll travel roughly 520 miles in just 5 days. I wish I was as fit as that. So to support Steve's challenge, you can donate to his Just Giving page, and there it is on the screen. Or if you want to find out more about the work of the Mary Stevens Hospice, then you can visit www.marystevenshospice.co.uk. Now, Smethwick Library is seeing in the start of this year's Black Country Festival in style with a special football-related event on Thursday the 6th of July. Now, after the success of last year's evening with Cyril Regis and Brendan Batson, this time the spotlight falls on the Albion great Tony Bomber Brown. Now, he was at the Baggies from 1961. He was part of an Albion team that won the 66 League Cup and the 68 FA Cup final. He was the top scorer in Division 1 in 1970-71 and received his England cap at the end of that season. He scored 279 goals in 720 competitive games for Albion, both club records, and he later moved to the New England T-Men, Torquay United and Stafford Rangers. Now, since retiring from playing, he's worked as a coach and a commentator. So this event will be hosted by Alan Cleverley and features classic match clips and, of course, the chance to listen to a Baggies legend. The second half of the event will be an audience Q&A session. So if you'd like to go along on July the 7th, tickets are available from Smethwick Library, or you can call 0121 558 0497. Now, staff and volunteers at Galton Valley Pumping Station in Smethwick are going to be celebrating the building's 125th anniversary with a free family and community fun day. The wildlife themed event is on Saturday the 8th of July and it'll be at the station itself and also further down the canal. Staff from Dudley Zoo will be at the event with some of their smallest animals, as well as representatives of the RSPB and Birmingham and Black Country Wildlife Trust with information and activities to get involved with. There'll be a heritage boat and an arty and crafty boat with loads to have a go at. Visitors can enjoy live music, craft activities and trails along the canal. Now, the Galton Valley pumping station was built to regulate water levels between the old and new mainline canals, and now after 125 years visitors can learn about life on the canals, how they were built and how they played such a big part in the industrial development of the area. Now, I've been on the canal trip myself along that stretch and it's absolutely fascinating. So this one is all taking place at the Galton Valley pumping station off Brasshouse Lane in Smethwick on Saturday the 8th of July, and as I said, the event is free. So to find out more you can call 0121 556 0683 or have a look at the website www.sandwell.gov.uk/joininmuseums. Now, anyone interested in an apprenticeship with Sandwell Council is invited to find out more at an event next week. The council will be taking on hundreds more apprenticeships over the coming years, and anyone interested in starting their career with the council is urged to pop along to the council house in Albury on Thursday the 6th of July. Now, the event is in the council chambers and it's open to people of any age. Council apprentices who are already working for the council, as well as the council's employment team, will be on hand to give advice, chat about vacancies and how to apply. Now, apprenticeships are a way to earn while you learn. You can get work experience and put some money in your pocket without leaving you with debt. That's what they say. So for more information or to see current vacancies, you can have a look at www.sandwell.gov.uk/apprenticeship vacancies, all one word. Or you can call 0121 569 2099. So there you go. That's what we've found pinned to this week's community notice board. If you know of something that we could be telling people about, why don't you get in touch? But please do, as always, give us at least a week's notice. You can email news@madeinbirmingham.tv. On social media, look us up at Made in Bingham TV, or you can use the hashtag Birmingham News. We'll find you. And of course, we'll have more for you at the same time next week. Now it's time for some movie news, and fresh from his daily film slot in the Lowdown, it's back to Carl Jones.
Thanks very much, Lee. Well, I'm joined today by first-time film director Jane Harris from Stourbridge, whose new movie is about to get its premiere at the Town Hall, and it's all very exciting, isn't it, Jane? Tell us a bit about it.
It is, yeah. Well, we decided to make a documentary film on the story of who put Bella in the Wych Elm. It's a well-known story locally, but I think if you move even slightly out of Stourbridge and that local area, people haven't really heard of it. So it's been really fascinating for us to speak to not only local people, but people across the Midlands about the story. Basically, in a nutshell, in 1943, human remains were found by 4 teenage boys in a hollow tree in Hagley Wood near Stourbridge. And there's been a whole raft of conspiracy theories around the discovery because it was during wartime. The labels were cut from her clothes, so people assumed, oh, she was a spy, she must have been from overseas. The Clent Hills was visited by the Hagley Home Guard. They were called out to a parachute drop around the time of the discovery. So it all kind of tied in, and people thought, oh, she parachuted in, she was a spy, she was murdered and hidden in a tree. But for me, that didn't really make much sense, because at that time, if spies were captured, they were interrogated. It was all done quite publicly to make an example of them. And they were either sentenced to death by hanging or firing squad. They weren't hidden in hollow trees. So I just wanted to look into it a bit more. And local people started coming forward after they'd heard that we were making the film. And we got some really fascinating insight, things that have never been in the newspapers before, things that you won't read online, because it's people who haven't really spoken until now.
I know you won't want to give too many secrets away about the conclusion you reach, but let's have a quick look at the trailer to Who Put Bella in the Wych Elm.
Secrets and mysteries of the craft.
Even MI5 got involved.
You couldn't just stumble on a location like that. Like a gypsy. It didn't stay around there long.
The tree isn't there. We saw a figure of a lady.
She's got unfinished business.
Staff had actually left. More human remains.
So, the premiere is the 4th of August at Stourbridge Town Hall. Tickets selling well?
They are. They're selling really well. Yeah, it's taken me by surprise, actually, the level of interest locally in it. I know that there's been graffiti around Stourbridge for quite a while in the local area, but yeah, I was really, really surprised. We sold out within the first hour when we were in a small room at Stourbridge Town Hall. That was around 45 tickets. And so we decided to move into the main hall, and we've sold just over 250 tickets now, and they're still selling, which is it's just amazing. I'm just so grateful that people want to take the time and spend the evening and come out to see something that I've made, because as you say, it's my first film. I didn't set out to make anything that would sort of be screened publicly. It was just something that I found really, really fascinating. But the more I've spoken to people, the more people seem to find it as interesting as I do. She was wearing a wedding ring. She'd given birth to at least one child, so she was potentially a mother, unless she'd lost the child. So it seems sad, really, that not only we don't know who she was, but that there's nothing there to memorialise her either. You know, not a plaque, nothing at all. But I think during wartime it was very difficult. People moved around a lot. A lot of people went missing. So she was just one of the many, unfortunately, but a fascinating story.
Well, good luck with the film. Still a few tickets available. Don't forget, if you'd like to get your tickets, it's August the 4th at Stourbridge Town Hall. That's all from us here at the Light Cinema in Walsall, Lee. So if you like your dose of paranormal, get down to that place, 4th of August. See you next week.
Thanks, Carl, and of course he'll be back next week. So then, time for another short break, and when we come back it'll be time to take a look at the very interesting part of our region, plus we'll have our regular look at the arts, and of course Des and Sasha will be here to see what's on during the coming week. I'll see you in a few minutes. Welcome back to the programme with me, Lee Bannister. Time now for the next in our mini-series of films from Barbeacon in Walsall, which has recently seen the completion of the Raising the Bar project. A Heritage Lottery Fund grant helped to restore the landmark war memorial and other heritage features. It also funded a programme of community involvement with activities ranging from walks and talks to archaeological digs and music festivals. So let's see what's happening this week in part 4 of Raising the Bar.
We know that Barbeacon was used by Stone Age man because a Neolithic mace head has been found by archaeologists, and Roman coins have been discovered here too. Our recent archaeological excavation involved local school children and volunteers from the community. We found evidence of 12th century ridge and furrow farming, and it was a unique opportunity for people to take part in an actual dig.
We've been invited by Walsall Council to come and undertake some excavations for them. There's been a programme of archaeological work done over a good few years now. So there was a desk-based assessment done where they collected all the map evidence and the cartographic evidence, and then that was followed up by geophysical survey, and then there was some test pitting, so just metre squares. And we've had the opportunity now, thanks to the Heritage Lottery funding, to come back and open up some bigger areas and see what we can find.
It's one of the highest points in the West Midlands, and wherever you get a high point you tend to get human activity. Even if it's just farming or agricultural, at least it's sort of built up a bit of a picture of the site and what's gone on in the past.
Well, this is a piece of clay pipe that you've just found here. Nice bit of stem from the clay pipe. Good, that's excellent, isn't it? That's another nice piece of Victorian pottery.
Victorian
really good.
pottery?
Yes, very good.
We have walked very far to get to here so we can do the archaeological dig, and we're going to find as much stuff as we possibly can.
Our school, Blackwood School, has been involved in the Raising the Bar project in association with the council, and when we heard about the dig, the whole school was absolutely delighted to be invited.
It's really cool doing an archaeological dig. Just digging through, I was about to put in the bin where I noticed that I had found a piece of pottery.
They're mostly finding finds which would probably date back over the last sort of 100 years or so. Little bits of brick and tile, pottery, glass, and one of the little boys did find a coin, which is very unusual, a coin from the probably late Second World War coin, 3p piece, which certainly surprised everybody because they weren't expecting that at all.
This is sort of 18th, 19th century, a storage jar. So it's glazed internally, it's designed to hold a liquid. They haven't bothered glazing it on the outside, glaze is expensive. So we think that this is probably made up ground associated with the landscaping, potentially to do with the war memorial itself. So that's actually really quite nice in that we've got some nice dating material. And to go with it, we have a bit of engineering brick, a much smaller fragment. So really this is essentially Black Country industry, which is really rather nice given where we are.
These days, however, Barbeacon is more space age than Stone Age, as it's a popular spot for stargazing. Used regularly by the Walsall Astronomical Society, it's been designated a dark sky discovery site, which means that it's one of the best places in the region to observe the night sky due to reduced light pollution. Other activities on Barbeacon include regular health walks, organised by Walsall Council's Walk On programme. Each week, trained volunteers lead groups of people around parks and countryside sites across the borough.
Walking is great, it's free, it's open all the time. Barbeacon's a beautiful park. You can walk in a group or on your own, and it's accessible all times. It's a great place to walk. There's lots of benefits to walking. It's good health-wise, so it reduces your risk of diabetes, it gives you a healthy heart, it also helps with anxiety and depression, and also you can lose weight, it makes you stronger, it helps with balance for when you get older, so there's lots and lots of benefits to walking.
I think Barbeacon itself, it's so open, very cold in the winter, but wrap up and you don't notice it. In the summer you see the changes, it's lovely, we love it, yes.
I decided, I wanted the healthier lifestyle, so I decided to eat healthy and incorporate exercise, which is walking, and it's done me the power of good. It's, fantastic, I feel fantastic.
And Marverine will be back one more time next week with more about Barbeacon. So then, are you wondering what's on around our area? Well, worry no more, because here come Des and Sasha to fill us in.
Welcome to What's On. Des, where are we today?
We are at the Crescent Theatre on Sheepcote Street in the town. One of the oldest, if not the oldest, amateur theatre company in the Midlands. Go on then, you first.
Right, well, at the Rep between July the 4th and the 8th, Bee Festival is a boundary-smashing explosion of more than 20 shows composed of theatre, dance, circus, comedy, music, visual and performing arts, and a special feature is audiences being given the opportunity to explore and enjoy the backstage areas where the construction workshop acts as a hub to the festival. That is so cool, I really like that.
Yeah, and they do a special night where you can all have dinner.
Oh wow!
On the stage with the acts as well.
That's incredible.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Now, lots of foodie news. A new vegan fast food style cafe is set to open in August called Fresh with 2 S's. It's going to be in the City Arcade, which is across the road from Rackham's, and will specialise in 100% plant-based breakfast and lunch options. Plant-based. They say the aim is to promote a healthier, more sustainable and ethical choice, providing tasty food that's a good and quick choice, not just for vegans and vegetarians.
Nice.
Yeah.
Alternative, worth it. It's a fresh idea, I might say.
Yeah, fresh. I like it.
Okay. Over at the NEC, the new multi-million-pound Dinosaurs in the Wild is a mix of theatre, theme park and scientific research. It's set in a research station time base, and guests will get this safety briefing from their guides, travel through the herds of dangerous dinosaurs, watch a dinosaur autopsy, witness hatchlings emerging from eggs, and come eye to eye with a very angry Tyrannosaurus Rex. I have a joke.
Go on.
How do you ask a Tyrannosaurus out to lunch?
I don't know.
T-Rex? Another bad one.
Yeah. Created by award-winning producers behind the BBC series and spin-off arena show Walking with Dinosaurs. It's one of the biggest shows ever staged at the NEC, runs until the 24th of August, and judging by the enthusiastic review given by one of our colleagues who went last week, it's definitely one not to be missed. Okay. Now, there's a very special concert at the Symphony Hall on Monday night when the legendary 19 times Grammy award-winning singer Tony Bennett makes his 10th appearance at the venue. Now, in his 90th year, he's played to over 17,000 fans since his first visit in 1996. He's quoted as saying, "The audiences in Birmingham are exceptionally warm and welcoming, and they are so fortunate to have this beautiful Symphony Hall right in their hometown, one of my favourite places to perform. And if you've never been to the Symphony Hall, go. It is absolutely brilliant."
That's a nice review of our fellow Brummies, isn't it?
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that. And as we're here in the Crescent Theatre, their summer tour of Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility is already underway, and it visits Blakesley Hall this weekend. Then on the 12th and 13th, they're at Selly Manor and finishing at Harvington Hall Gardens over in Kidderminster on the 15th and 16th. And as with most open-air events, bring a blanket and a garden chair, maybe some food and maybe a drink.
Yeah, well, it'll be definitely a drink. Now then, gig of the week. Don't forget, you've got the Mostly Jazz Funk and Soul Festival at Moseley Park with Chaka Khan. Over at the Hare and Hounds, Joyce Sims, she's on Thursday, and also Odyssey, native New Yorker, they're on at the Jam House on Thursday. So it was a really difficult decision to make up my mind. Plus I've forgotten my bell.
Not a sentence you hear every day.
I'm not going to go for one, I'm going to go for three. I'm going to go for Joyce Sims, Odyssey and Chaka Khan. So there you go. Ding. Back to you.
And Des and Sasha will be back here at around the same time each week, plus you can catch up with what's going on during the rest of the week on Thursday's edition of The Lowdown. So then, time for a break, but don't go anywhere because we have an appointment with Jason in the Milk Bar. We'll profile another artist and then Norman will be seeing what's so special about this week. Oh, we'll take a look at the weekend weather for you too. I'll see you in a few minutes. Welcome back to the final part of the programme. Right then, do you have an artistic nature? Would you like to come on the telly and show people what you can do? Well, this is the sort of thing that we mean.
My father was diagnosed with Alzheimer's when he was 50, and my mother didn't tell me about it until he passed away. Me not knowing kind of encouraged me to want to explore more about Alzheimer's in my final year. There's so much designers and artists have done a lot of excellent job on raising awareness and creating art that is friendly for dementia patients. I thought, what can I do more as an illustrator? So I get in contact with Alzheimer's Society Cardiff and the SERBS member. It kind of gave me insight of how they want to be treated when they've been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. As an illustrator, I found out that my 2D drawing and paintings doesn't speak as much as I want to speak. It doesn't communicate what I meant, and I found material like thread. With this one, I use soluble fabric, which is disappear when you put it in warm water. The way you do it is you sew your design with the freehand machine, sewing machine, and then once your design is done, you dip it in the water, and what's left is the design, and that kind of represents the losing of memory, but also what's left is kind of also tells about the holding of memory. You're trying to hold on to the person of you used to be. I like it when they touch and makes them feel something. It is more kind of the connection that I'm looking for when they can enjoy the artwork, but also ask about what it is without being afraid of touching it. And it kind of builds a connection between me and the other person. If it can be useful for them, that is the point for me. And as an illustrator, we can do that. It's not just drawing and painting. Through creating empathy, you can create connection with other people and hopefully give them more perspective, or more, I don't want to say knowledge, because it's kind of like I'm teaching them something, because I'm not teaching them something. I just want to represent them in a more dignified way.
And we'll be profiling another artist around the same time next week. Now, baby, you're an artist with a passion for the subjects you portray. Why don't you get in touch? You never know, we might be able to feature you or your work on the show. Or perhaps you know of an artist that we could cover. Either way, we'd love to take a look at your work, so why don't you get in touch? You can email news@madeinbirmingham.tv. Right, let's make our regular call now to the Milk Bar with Jason Forrest. And the recent Royal Three Counties show in Malvern saw visitors from across our region celebrating British farming. The ambassador of the show, Adam Henson, spoke to Jason about how important it is for us to understand the work involved in getting our food to the table.
Probably Britain's favourite farmer is the ambassador for the Three Counties show for 2017, Adam Henson. Hello.
Hello.
So, you've had a great time at the show. It's been some brilliant livestock on display, and obviously you're quite at home with all this, aren't you?
I am really. I've been coming to the Three Counties show ever since I was a little boy, now the Royal Three Counties. My dad used to come here. We came as a family showing livestock, and then he was president of the show for a number of years, and then got the Rare Breeds Day going on the Sunday. And here we are. This is the Saturday, day 2 of a 3-day show. It's one of my favourites in the country, so I was very honoured to be asked to be their ambassador for this year.
And of course you've been judging as well. You've been in the main arena, taking a look at some of the animals, and obviously very much looking forward to Rare Breeds Day. But it must be interesting seeing the best of the best, but considering most of the people here are only used to seeing these animals pre-packaged in a supermarket.
Well, that's right. There's lots of livestock here. We've got 5,000 animals of various different species: sheep, cows, pigs, goats, you name it. And for me to be asked with Ken Nottage, who's the chief executive here, to judge the best of the best was a real treat. So we had the best pig of all pigs here, the best beef animal, the best dairy animal, a dual purpose animal, and then the best beef bull. And we chose the Limousin bull and the black pig, the large black pig, which was great and lovely for the crowds to see all these animals up close.
And literally very close. I mean, they can come around and inspect the animals and meet them in their enclosures here. But I mean, even something like where the chickens are on display. Obviously, you can't quite parade those, but again, it is a great viewing spectacle for people to see where their food comes from. And it's important people understand that, isn't it?
I think it is. I mean, I think you get people of all ages learning a lot coming to a show like this. They can talk to the farmers with their livestock. They can go and talk to bees and honey. They can go into the poultry tent and talk about chickens. The Rare Breed Survival Trust are here talking about all of their work. There's conservation, there's machinery, there's the Grand Parade, there's lots of shopping and fun and food, and so I think it's a great atmosphere. And if you walk around the show, you see lots of people having a great time, smiling, lots of schools as well, which is wonderful if you're trying to aim at that educational angle too.
Absolutely, get the whole family involved and get them to understand what's really going on. And obviously you've got your book which is out at the moment, which you've been signing copies for people, and again, that looking back at your father as you've mentioned already. But really, I mean, he started out and did a load of media stuff in his time, didn't he? So he sort of carried on the family tradition with all of this.
He did, yeah. He was an actor's son, so I suppose the media was in his bones, I suppose, to perform. And but with his rare breeds work and being an early pioneer in conserving rare breeds, he attracted the media attention. So he worked with Johnny Morris on Animal Magic and worked with Phil Drabble and Angela Rippon on a programme called In the Country. And I'm very fortunate to be following in his footsteps. My little feet hardly fill his great big ones. He did amazing work in agriculture and got recognised by the Queen, got an MBE for his work. Yeah, so my book, Like Farmer, Like Son, is really a memoir of how mine and his lives have been very entwined, and some television stories as well.
Well, obviously available online. Have you actually got a website as well? Are you a wet farmer with a website too?
Well, we've got a place that's open to the public, so after we finish here, I'll go back to the Cotswold Farm Park, a tourist enterprise that my dad started in 1971. So we have a website, at cotswoldfarmpark.co.uk, and we get 145,000 visitors come to the farm park to celebrate rare breeds conservation and get up close to animals.
Well, you keep up the good work. We'll keep watching you on TV, and thanks again for having a chat.
Thank you very much.
And thanks very much to Jason and to Adam. And we'll have more from the Milk Bar at the same time next week. But if that's not enough for you, then the Milk Bar is also on the radio and it's a podcast too. So just order up themilkbarpodcast.com to find out more. Now then, let's take a quirky and interesting trip back in time with everyone's favourite historian. It's our very own Norman Bartlam.
In July 1906, the Lord Mayor of Birmingham, Joseph Chamberlain, embarked on a tour of the city to mark his 70th birthday. Over 12,000 people assembled in Birmingham's Summerfield Park to honour Old Joe, as he was affectionately called. The local press noted that never in its history has the park beheld a more brilliant spectacle or a greater display of enthusiasm. The vast crowds which poured in through the wide gates were inspired by one sentiment only, that of Joseph Chamberlain. The Chamberlain atmosphere pervaded everything in what was described as a motley, merry but picturesque crowd, and there was music supplied from the bandstand by the Cradley Heath Prize Band. There were choruses of "Good Old Joe" and "Happy Birthday" wishes came from all corners. The papers added that nothing occurred to mar the unallied pleasures of a delightful little function. Sadly, however, shortly after the end of these celebrations, he was disabled by a stroke, ending his public career.
And staying on the subject of history, if you'd like Norman to take a look at something in years gone by, then why don't you get in touch? You can email news@madeinbirmingham.tv. So then, it's time to close the pages of the Birmingham News Weekend magazine for Saturday. I'll be back tomorrow night at 6 o'clock with more from the Weekend magazine, and then I'll see you bright and early on Monday morning at 7 for the Birmingham News Review. Plus, of course, you can keep up to date with more news for Birmingham and the West Midlands every weekday at 6 and 8 in the evening. So that's it for now. Stay tuned, the weather is coming up next, and then after the break we'll be seeing what George and Taffy have been up to this week on the Lowdown. Thanks for watching. So from me for now, try it.